Hello and welcome back to another episode of After the Whistle. I'm Noah Genson.
And I'm Kellen Voss. We got a packed show for you today, so let's get right into it.
The Grand Valley State men's basketball team had a solid couple of weeks on the court as the team picked up 4 wins while also picking up their first loss of the season. On Friday, November 16, GVSU defeated the Tiffin Dragons at home 97-81. Standout sophomore Jake Van Tubergen led the team with 21 points and 9 rebounds, while senior Zach West also contributed 20 points. The men traveled to Indianapolis the following Sunday, where they picked up their first loss of the season to the Indianapolis Greyhounds 88-80. While the Lakers were up 13 points at the half, they couldn't stop the Greyhounds from putting up 51 points in the second half. Before the squad left for Thanksgiving break, they picked up another victory over Grace Christian, 87-70. Hunter Hale led the team with 17 points, while Demetrius Lake put up a career-high 12 points on 4 key threes at the Fieldhouse. And finally, this past week, the team picked up 2 more victories, starting off GLIAC play undefeated. The Lakers traveled to Wisconsin Parkside to beat the Rangers 88-77. 48 hours later, GVSU picked up another win, beating Purdue Northwest 79-62. Van Tubergen had another dominant weekend, averaging 24 points and 9.5 rebounds. After these 5 games, the Lakers now sit at 6-1 and look to pick up 2 more wins this week. They play Ashland at home on Thursday, December 6th, before facing Wayne State at home Saturday, December 8th. Both games tip off at 8 p.m.
The women had similar results these past couple weeks as they lost to Lewis on the road before beating Indianapolis and Concordia Ann Arbor in the next 2 games. That road loss marked the first loss of the season for the Lakers as they fell to the Flyers 66-74. Maddie Daly led all Lakers in scoring with 17 points. GVSU recovered from that loss with 2 rebounding victories, winning in double overtime in Indianapolis 80-71 before thrashing Concordia 86-42. Cassidy Bench led all Lakers in scoring and rebounding in each game, scoring 25 against Indy and 24 against Concordia. With 27 total rebounds to go along with it, the women's basketball team also entered GLIAC competition this weekend, beating Wisconsin Parkside 67-50, before dominating Purdue Northwest 75-49. While Bench was able to lead all Lakers with a combined 37 points in the GLIAC games, Jen DeBoer followed right behind, scoring 14 points against Parkside before racking up 6 points and 7 assists against Purdue. After these 3 weeks, the Lakers improved to 6-1 and look to pick up 2 more wins this week as they face Ashland on Thursday and Wayne State on Saturday. Both games are set to tip off at 6.
The Grand Valley State Lakers soccer team fell just short of capping off a perfect season as they lost in the national championship game to Bridgeport 1-0. GV played strong throughout the NCAA tournament, outscoring their opponents 23-3. Ava Cook led all Lakers in scoring during the tournament with 7 goals, while Chelsea Graves and Madeline Becker each added 3. The team made the Final Four in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and beat the Lee Flames 3-0 on Thursday, November 29th. Ava Cook scored her 24th goal on the season in the semifinals win. The Lakers came out hard on Saturday, December 1st in the national championship game against the Bridgeport Purple Knights, but just couldn't put the ball in the net in the 1-0 loss. GV put 18 shots on goal, but failed to get one through. The Grand Valley State Lakers finished a dominant season, 25-1-1. Cook led all Lakers in goals with 24, while Rico Segarra led all Lakers with 23 assists. Jessica Radis had a fantastic season in the goals, shutting out opponents 15 times in 27 starts. We here at After the Whistle would like to congratulate the Lakers on a fantastic year, and we look forward to seeing what this young team can do next season.
While the soccer team fell just short of winning a national championship, the men's and women's cross-country teams both brought home a national championship during their weekend in Pittsburgh. The Grand Valley State men's cross-country team captured its first NCAA national title after they scored 89 points in the 2018 NCAA Division II cross-country national championships 10K race on Saturday, December 1st. GVSU had 4 athletes earn All-American honors, with Zach Panning, Eno Woldemichael, Tanner Chada, and Josh Steibel finishing inside the top 40. Panning has now secured All-American honors all 4 years that he has competed, while Woldemichael earned All-American honors for the second consecutive year. Panning capped off his cross-country career as a national runner-up. Not to be outdone, the Grand Valley State women's cross-country team captured its 6th NCAA national title with a dominant performance in the 6K race after they scored 41 points. While Sarah Berger became the 3rd different GVSU athlete in program history to win an NCAA cross-country national title, GVSU had 5 athletes claim All-American honors with top 26 finishes that included Berger, Allie Ludge, Hannah Gorber, and Madison Goen. Berger won her first cross-country national title and is now a 2-time All-American, while Gina Patterson finishes her career with the Lakers as a 3-time All-American. And Allie Ludge captured All-American honors for the 2nd straight year. Under head coach Jerry Baltes, the Lakers have won 11 national championships in track and cross-country. We here at After Louisville would like to congratulate the men and the women for bringing the national championships to Grand Valley, and good luck as they move on to the indoor track season. GVSU kicks off the track season as they host the GVSU Holiday Open this Friday, December 7th at the Kelly Family Sports Center. The meet kicks off at 2:45.
And that'll do it for GVSU Sports. Thanks for sticking around all season with us. And until next semester, I'm Noah Genson.
For all of us here at After the Whistle, I've been Kellen Voss. All game, all season, always on After the Whistle.
Hey everybody, welcome back into another episode of the Jen and Gelo Show. I'm Noah Jensen.
I'm D'Angelo Starks.
We are both a little under the weather today, so bear with us a little bit. But we haven't seen you in a couple weeks, and in those couple weeks, the Pistons
are the best team in the league.
Yeah, I think so. I know, but they're 8-2 right now in their last 10 games.
On a 5-game winning streak.
9-11 in their last 11. If you want to go after their 5-game losing streak to start the season. They're playing better basketball. They're starting to hit some more shots, and it looks like Dwayne Casey's finally figuring out the rotations.
Yeah, you're starting to see lineups that work better together, playing, and they're making more sense. The team as a whole seems to make more sense right now, and with the East being the East, we all know what it is. It looks like the Pistons are one of the better teams in the East, whereas before we had talked before the season. And I'm like, I think they're probably fighting for like a 7 or an 8 seed, where now it seems they're more likely to get a 5 seed and maybe even could push for something better than that.
Yeah, they're definitely proving to the entire East that they are one of the top teams in the East. That's not saying much in the Eastern Conference, but it's nice, especially like you said, us coming into the season not knowing what our future was really in the Eastern Conference, where we thought we would fit in the Eastern Conference, but no, they're slated in the 5 spot right now, behind teams like Toronto and Milwaukee, Philly and Indiana. Boston's a game or 2 behind.
And Boston seems to be figuring it out. Which we expect.
Boston's going to figure it out. So those are the 6 teams I think that are the top of the East, the teams that have really put themselves aside. And I like the Pistons' chances against teams like teams in that top 6. There's not, besides a team like Toronto, maybe Milwaukee, there's not many teams that scare. Well, Philly obviously with Joel and all that noise with Joel and Andre.
Whatever.
That's but really nothing worries me too much. I mean, we got a star of our own in Blake Griffin, who's playing at an all-star caliber level, 25, 10, and 5. He's making 35% of his threes. And he's just doing everything that you've been wanting from Blake, and everything we expected to see from Blake. And more good news to come from this team is that you got Luke Kennard coming back, another shooter. You're going to be able to add to the lineup.
I keep looking forward to.
And it just seems like things are starting to snowball in a good direction for the Pistons.
Things are going well when Stanley Johnson is playing good basketball. So if you're getting good minutes out of guys like Stanley Johnson, and if Smith continues to be a good backup off the bench, Langston Galloway will come through and have some big nights. If these guys continue to do that, then you have a very deep rotation, especially when Kennard comes back. And Bruce Brown is starting to get big minutes playing in the crunch time 5 lineup. And I know we love that. Our buddy Kellen loves that. He texts us about it. He loves Bruce Brown. He might be the biggest Bruce Brown fan that there is. And I like him a lot too. He's really good. I like what he brings, and they're getting to a point where they're going to have a pretty good lineup that they can throw at anybody. I mean, as we see, they just beat the Golden State Warriors on Steph Curry's return.
Yeah, Steph's first night
back.
So,
I think they were still down Draymond, but, that's still pretty good. If you can beat the Warriors with Steph, they're pretty good.
Yeah, no, the bench unit has been a real big success for the Pistons this year. And it shouldn't be as a surprise to many people, with Dwayne Casey.
It's his thing.
That's what I mean. Last year he boasted the best bench unit in the league with Toronto, with guys like Fred VanVleet,
Pascal.
Guys,
Siakam,
yeah, guys that were sort of outcasts in drafts, guys that they sort of took chances on, and they're turning into they turned into some solid contributors for the Raptors, and we're seeing that this year with the Pistons. Ish Smith having a career year off the bench. Stanley Johnson having his best season of his career. Bruce Brown giving good minutes. Langston Galloway becoming a guy you can use in the rotation compared to last year with Stan Van Gundy, who sort of just threw him at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
He's been our really our best shooter. It seems like a guy that you can go and get a shot from. Zaza Pachulia has been giving us good minutes off the bench. I mean, everybody that has been getting minutes for this team in the past few weeks, once these rotations have sort of taken place, everybody's looked good. Reggie Jackson's his numbers are starting to perk up a little bit. Still only at 34% from three, but his numbers are gaining. Andre Drummond is playing fantastic. The only guy that has seemed to struggle for the team still is Glenn Robinson. Hopefully those struggles won't continue for the majority of the season, but nothing about this team is really a cause for concern.
No.
But is there any move that you would like to see the Pistons maybe make in the next coming weeks, coming up, possibly not in the coming weeks, I guess, but with the trade deadline, trade rumors starting to circulate? Is there any move that you could see the Pistons making that could help their chances to take over the East a little more?
We know they can use a forward. I mean, like you said, Glenn Robinson hasn't been great, and I know neither of us love Stanley Johnson. So if they can get I don't know, I don't have a name in mind when it comes to forward, but I know we've talked a little bit about like point guards where they could get better, because I still don't think Reggie Jackson is the guy.
No.
If you could get like a Goran Dragic in some type of deal, swindle Miami, I like that idea. I like the idea of Dragic being a Piston. I think he's very good. I still think he's one of probably the 10, 12 best point guards in the league. So that'd be a really nice move if they could pull it off somehow. Yeah,
adding a point guard, just a better decision maker in Goran Dragic, a better shooter. I mean, that would be nice. Even with the way Reggie's playing, that's still a considerable upgrade.
Yeah, for sure.
I think just in general, a shooter needs to be added to the team. Just wherever you can find shooting is going to be good. Blake Griffin, we know that Blake's going to have the ball late in games, and he's going to try to find guys open on the outside. And so adding another shooter, another guy that can maybe make a play for himself off the dribble, a good defender, just not even a star in a sense, but maybe somebody, maybe a forward that you can maybe slide into Glenn Robinson's slot in the starting lineup. That's a bit of a better shooter, a better defender, just somebody that can just upgrade your minutes you were getting from Glenn Robinson.
Right, because he's been at zero essentially, and you don't want a zero.
Because there are names like Bradley Beal that get floated, and maybe a John Wall, but those aren't a star is
that's
not
shooting too high, especially for this team with this cap situation.
With the cap situation we're in, I mean, you just have to be able to find the deal that works best, and just being able to find that fourth guy for your starting lineup possibly. I think that would go a long way for this Pistons team.
I agree.
That's going to do it for us this week on the Jen and Gelo Show. It's going to do it for us for the semester as well. So we'll see you next semester for the Jen and Gelo Show. Until then, I'm Noah Genson.
I'm D'Angelo Starks. Peace. Merry Christmas. Welcome, guys. I'm D'Angelo Starks. I'm here with Joe Belansky. Since Christmas is right around the corner, we wanted to just do something quick, do a little special thing, and we want to talk about Christmas movies. We're going to do the Mt Rushmore, so what we think are the 4 best or most important Christmas movies of all time. Joe, I'm going to let you go first.
All right, so number 1, and like we talked about this earlier a little bit, so you already know, but number 1, I have Home Alone 2.
Okay, I thought you said 1 for some reason.
Well, it could have been in the text. It could have got confusing, but yeah, no, Home Alone.
Was right.
Home Alone 2.
Okay.
There's a distinction there. I just think Home Alone 2 is better than 1. I like the inventions. He's in unfamiliar territory. In the first one,
I couldn't agree more.
In the first one, like,
agree
he's
more.
in his house. Like, he knows what's in his house. Like, in the second one, he's in, New York. He don't know a thing. You get the bird lady. That's iconic.
She was very terrifying until you realize that she's nice. At first, she was scary.
It was a nice little lesson.
Yeah. Donald Trump shows up. No, I don't know how you feel about the man as our president, but that's a high-quality cameo out of him. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so I got number 1, I got Home Alone 2.
Okay.
At number 2, I got, and I didn't see this in your list, and I was kind of surprised because it seems to be a little in your wheelhouse, but at number 2, I have Christmas Vacation.
National Lampoon's,
Yep.
Chevy Chase.
And like, my family, like, we're weird. Like, that's like a family tradition. Is like we go get our tree Griswold style after
I
Thanksgiving.
respect that.
You got the snap, so I can proof for that. and then like after we like get home, we watch Christmas Vacation. So that's just like a weird little tradition.
Yeah,
we
it's one of those
started.
family things.
So that's,
of course,
so that's my number 2.
I get it.
My number 3. Yeah, it's a Christmas movie. Is Elf.
And it's a Christmas movie. It's about an
Well,
an
but
elf.
it's just a
and
Will
Santa.
Ferrell comedy though. Like I get it.
Yeah, but it's a Christmas movie. I get. Yeah.
Like that's
Absolutely 100%. It's in there.
That's all time. It's on it's not even ABC Family, Freeform. It's on there like all the time.
25 Days of Christmas.
Yeah, so that Elf is a good one. Everybody loves that movie. And then at 4, I have the Jim Carrey Grinch.
That's in order. That's like, or is that your
that was my
ranking of
order.
them?
That was like
Okay.
1 through 4.
Okay. Me personally, I have a problem with Elf being ranked over the Grinch. It's a debate I had with friends a little while ago. I put out an Instagram poll. The Grinch won. I just want people to know that. Probably because it's a superior movie. But anyways, I'll list my 4. I agree with you. I think Home Alone 2 is the best Home Alone. Lost in New York, there's just something about it.
Yep.
I just think it's better. And it's hard to explain, but it just is. And then you have The Grinch, like we
It's
talked
number
about.
2.
Yeah, I think that
Wow.
I think Jim Carrey as the Grinch is incredible. I love it. Elf, I go number 3, and then one that you didn't seem to have much respect for, The Polar Express. It's a wonderful movie. I love that movie. The only thing you could compliment about it was the animation.
Yeah, like it looks.
Why don't you like it?
It just didn't do it for me, man. I don't know.
What about it?
I don't know. Like,
How old were you when you watched it? Do you not have a heart? Do you not have a soul?
Listen, I read the book first, and even the book never did nothing for
The
me.
book?
Like,
I didn't even know there was a book. Who cares?
what, you think they just came up with this idea out of the
Sometimes
blue?
they do for movies.
No, the book was first, and the book was okay too, but like it never grabbed my attention. Like I don't really have any like logical explanation other than it just doesn't do it for me.
Okay, listen. The scene when the train is chugging down that ice and they're like full-blown shifting sideways. That scene is iconic. It's so good. They stop for the moose. Is that the plural form of moose? I think so.
Yeah,
It's
good
like
with me.
yeah.
I don't know.
They
grammar,
stop.
so.
It's just so good. It teaches you about the meaning of Christmas. You know, it has the whole. I don't know.
But
I think
every
it's really
Christmas
good.
movie does though. So like,
Does Elf really teach you about the meaning?
yes, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Okay,
that's the
whatever,
number
man.
one lesson.
I guess. You got me. I was wrong. And you got me. I do think that Polar Express is up there for me, though. There's some other ones. You know, there's some honorable mentions. Everybody has their own. I'm sure people are going to see this, and they're going to be offended by these choices. People are probably upset that Home Alone 2 was over Home Alone 1, but grow up. Watch it again.
I'll take Sticky Bandits over Wet Bandits any day.
All right, well, I think that's all we have for you guys. I've been D'Angelo Starks.
Joe Belansky.
Merry Christmas.
Hello and welcome back to the last edition of Unnecessary Roughness here on After the Whistle for the 2018 season. It's been a while since the three of us have been able to sit down and talk.
Definitely.
Lots happened. 3 NFL weeks have gone by since we've last sat down and talked.
And nothing good for the Lions.
Well, the Panthers, they did.
Oh, that was more of a disappointment that they won another game. I just want them to lose out. Get the 4th, 5th draft pick, get someone good. But
Or
I don't
screw
know.
it up.
Huh?
Or screw it up.
Joe wants them to screw it up. Joe would love them to get a high top
Yes,
5
well,
pick.
that's all.
Nope. I don't have a problem with the Lions. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I have no problem with the Lions. Like I never had a problem But if they get that high pick, they're going to screw it up.
Well, we know who
That's
your enemy
accurate.
is. We're going to get to your enemy in a little bit because
Yep.
they're not looking good this season either. But, yeah, the Lions, and say what you will, these last two games have been closer than the final score would say. They beat the Panthers pretty handily. Then I'm blanking on who they played last week. Oh, they played the Bears again on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And then that game was close there towards the end.
It was.
Stafford, couple interceptions, put the game out of reach.
It was Thanksgiving. I didn't think that was going to be a runaway game for the Bears. The Lions always play well on Thanksgiving, so no, it was a decent game.
Plus, it was the first game with Chase, right?
Chase
so
Daniel.
that was definitely something, but it was a good game.
And then last night, we recorded this on Monday, so yeah, yesterday they played the Rams, which is, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL, the best all-around team in the NFL right now. And pretty much the Lions defense limited the Rams, one of the top offensive games in the NFL, to one of the worst games of the season for 3.5 quarters. And then by the time the defense was out there for what seemed like the 20th time of the day, they ended up getting rolled by Todd Gurley running that huge gap into the end zone. But I do still believe the pieces are there. I still do believe the Lions could potentially be okay in the next couple of years, but they have a little ways to go still.
We have promise. As I said, I think the game was a little close because the Rams were coming off a bye week and their offense wasn't really clicking early, but they figured it out in the end with the Todd Gurley run that you mentioned. But to go off what you were saying, I definitely think if we look around, we have a good pieces here or there, but I think we have some big gaps. Like we got Snacks Harrison that's gonna potentially help us in the long run with the run stop defense. But I think right now that we're really starting to see is that Darius Slay is the only one on our team that can cover the pass.
And he's lately been kind of struggling.
Yeah.
So he's not even been the Darius Slay of last year. He has been, and I don't want to say looking terrible. He's still looking to be top half end of the cornerbacks in the NFL, but it's not where he was last year, where you could have argued him being the best cornerback in the NFL. And with that and the complete waste of a draft pick in Tabor at this point, I will say it's a waste. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But he has shown nothing. He can't even make it on the field again. He's been inactive the last two games. And every time it seems that he was on a guy, the guy was in the end zone and catching a touchdown.
And then we see Glover Quinn, who's been a veteran leader for our team for a number of years now. He's definitely lost a step. He's coming to routes late. He can't really cover guys more. He's getting beat deep. He's definitely lost a step, so we're going to have to figure something out with a safety. But then we also have
I
others.
have high hopes in Tracy Walker.
Tracy Walker, okay.
I have high hopes in him after watching him the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
He's been taking more of Quinn's snaps away from Quinn and not looking bad in them. And as a rookie who no one really knew about coming into the season, he was drafted in the third round, so you hope that would equal production. He's showing, I believe, that he was worth that third-round draft pick spot.
Yeah. I definitely think a big question mark, too, is the other safety that we've moved there was Quandre Diggs. I think he can get beat a lot, but if you see, he can also make some crazy plays, too. Like, there's a specific one. It was a Jared Goff throw to the sideline. He came out of clear daylight and just smoked the guy on the sideline. Like, you can see Quandre Diggs make some plays, but at the same point, for the number of plays that he does make, he kind of lets those same plays, too. So he's kind of a big question mark, too, to see where he can develop as a player.
He would fit in well with the old school NFL run-stopping safety because he just demolishes guys. He's one of the best legal hard hitters that are in the NFL at this point. But, Joe, right now your Bears still on top of the NFC North. Nothing's really changed there. The lead didn't grow, but they're still there with all four NFC North teams losing. So go ahead. What's going on with your Bears?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was a classic trap game. I mean, what are you going to do? Again, I'm trying to be positive. I won't, this is a new Bears team. This isn't Bears of old where one bad thing happens and, the world crumbles. So I'm staying positive.
Like a couple years ago when Jay Cutler went down, and it's like, okay, he's down, but then Matt Forte went down, and then this guy went down, and that guy.
Yeah, like, and to now be 8-4, you can live with that. Luckily, everyone from the North, like you said, lost yesterday, so the positioning doesn't change, but again, if anything, yesterday showed that even when the starters aren't there, obviously Trubisky didn't play, this team has the fortitude to keep pushing and chip away because they never deserved to be in that game. Like, they were being outplayed. it's the NFL. No one's a pancake walk. The Bears should have never been able to come back and tie it up and force overtime, and they did. So that's a nice little positive thing moving forward. But they got to get ready for this Sunday. Rams coming in. It'll be a good preview to see really where the Bears were at, because we had last week where the Bears played the Vikings in primetime. That was huge. Bears did what they needed to do, and they won. So now here comes a second test to see where they really stack up amongst the NFC's elite. Because realistically, I would put the Bears third. The only people above them would be Rams and Saints in terms of the NFC. So this will really be a test.
I think at this point, yeah, it's fair to say that.
So this is going to be a huge game to just see where they're at. And if they end up losing it, it's not going to obviously be good. But I don't think in terms of for the North, it hurts them that bad. Because Minnesota has been a back and forth. They're hard to read. They're not consistent. So I think even with 2 losses in a row, the Bears would still be okay.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that one.
I have a question. We were kind of talking offshoot before this. Obviously, you're a big fan of the Khalil Mack trade, getting Khalil Mack. And he's definitely, like, hands down, has made an impact on that defense just early on in the season, being a dominant force.
Oh, yeah.
And he's kind of struggled with injuries here or there. But then we also have on the other spectrum, Khalil Mack was getting talked for the Defensive Player of the Year. We also have the other opposite, the Rams, that they'll be playing next week, Aaron Donald. Do you think that Khalil Mack should still, as the season goes on, obviously things will develop and they'll either go up or down, but as of right now, who would you give that defensive player to? Would you give it to Khalil Mack, or would you give it to Aaron Donald, who, as a defensive tackle, I think is leading the league in sacks?
He has, I think, 16 sacks after yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, that's tough too, because it's 2 different positions. You have an edge guy or a linebacker, depending on what you want to put Mack at, because he kind of can play everything. Where you have an interior nose tackle, where Donald is a freak, but he's a hog molly dealing with other hog mollies, where what Mack's able to do off the line and just push guys aside and make light work of it, that's amazing. The athleticism that it takes to do that, where Donald is already sort of built like a lineman, so he's going up against guys that are like him, where Mack is just breezing through double teams, triple teams. It doesn't matter. He's getting to where he needs to be, and that's after the quarterback are trying to stop the run.
My thing with Aaron Donald is just the sheer force that he has, just how big that man is and how fast he is. And not only has he proven that he can do it in the pass rush with the 16 sacks that he has, but if you see, we saw hands down the plays that he could make against the Lions, he made Ragnow look awful. He would shed him and just get LeGarrette Blount or whoever was running the ball with a 3-yard loss. He was making plays, pass rushing. He's just proven that he can be an all-around defensive lineman. He even sometimes lines up at defensive end. He's just a very versatile player, and I think that's why I would give him the edge over Khalil Mack, because he has that pure run stop and pass rush versatility. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a right or wrong choice.
No,
obviously I would want Mack too, because bias, but. Yeah. It could go to either or. You throw Derwin James into the mix, where it's a different position, but the safety from the Chargers, because he is playing lights out like nobody's business. He could play linebacker, safety. He can play everything on defense except the front 5.
I think he's definitely, between him and Darius Leonard from the Colts, are definitely leading the league. Because as rookies, it's crazy, the defensive rookie class right now, because we got Darius Leonard, the rookie linebacker for the Colts, who I think is still leading the league in tackles. And we have Derwin James, who's proven a sheer force as a defensive back for the Chargers.
And if you would look at last year, too, with Lattimore and the Saints. Was coming out as a rookie and was destroying people at corner, getting a bunch of interceptions.
Denzel Ward, too, for this year. I mean, over in Cleveland, he's been balling. It's amazing that the talent level on defense, that is the trend that's happening throughout the league, where they say, it's an offensive league, points, all these rules to kind of protect quarterbacks and stuff like that. But the athleticism and skill coming from the other side of the ball is like we've never seen before. It's awesome.
Definitely.
So before we wrap up tonight's show, we do want to talk about, Lions may be bad, but there's another team in the North that's almost been equally as bad this season. And it just kind of warms my heart that all those entitled Packer fans get to finally deal with struggles in a terrible team.
Yeah.
You mean owners. They're all owners.
Oh, they all are owners. That's right. That's right. So this is my lukewarm take. Aaron Rodgers is not good enough to lead this Packers team to anything. And Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is one of the top quarterbacks in the entire NFL history, and he's not good enough to lead this Packers team to being good.
Here's my take on that. If there wasn't pressure on him to win before, there's a ton now because he got what he wanted. Mike McCarthy's out of there. He got what he wanted. Now he needs to prove that he's worth the investment that Green Bay made in him because, like it or not, Green Bay's stuck now. Aaron Rodgers may as well be CEO, GM, president because he controls that organization. So he got what he wanted. He has to prove that he can win. I don't think the talent's around him, though. Like, I don't think making that coaching switch is going to make a difference. They've been bit by the injury bug. When Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams isn't in there, it's all young wide receivers. Jimmy Graham, he's not what he's used to be when they brought him in. So I don't think the pieces are there, no matter who is head coach of the Packers, to really take this team anywhere. And that's just kind of how the NFL goes. You get injuries, you get inexperienced guys who have to go in, and you have a down season. That's just football.
And it's not even just that. When the Packers are healthy, they're still not a good team.
Yeah. I definitely, it's hard because what is Aaron Rodgers, 36? It seems like this trend that they were going through this year was they're starting to sell and rebuild because they got rid of Clinton Dix.
Yep.
They're getting rid of good or semi-good players, so they're proving that they're ready to kind of rebuild. I think that's a very tough position to start trying to rebuild around a 36-year-old quarterback, which, yes, Aaron Rodgers is arguably the best quarterback in the league, one of the top quarterbacks definitely of all time. But how are you going to start rebuilding
around a
quarterback that's old, that's
mean,
going to be gone within the next few years?
And it's not a shot here, but is that not kind of like what's happening with the Lions, though, where they gave an aging quarterback now? Stafford
just turned
Rodgers.
30.
No, I get that, but they gave him all this money, and now they're struggling because they have all their money tied up in Stafford, so they can't find the pieces. That's why I like what the Bears are doing, or what the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks did. They had this rookie quarterback, or second, third-year player who's still on a rookie contract. They paid around him. Their window was only 2-3 years, and then they kind of dissolved, and now that it's no longer the same team. But I feel like that's sort of the route you need to go, and I think that's what the Bears are doing, and that's something that Detroit and Green Bay has kind of run into, where their money's tied up elsewhere.
Well, we saw a perfect example of what you're talking about with the Rams this year.
You look at the Rams this year, the Eagles last year,
Definitely.
the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The only team that right now that I look at that I won't throw New England into that because Tom Brady always takes the hometown deal to give the Patriots more money. But you look at the only team that I think hasn't followed that same pattern and still is having the success is the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees makes a ton of money, and they're still able to be good, no matter who's really out there.
I think the difference between them and some of the other teams like this, or the Rams, for example, they have the young quarterback that they haven't paid yet, but then they went and paid some of their big players like Aaron Donald and Todd Gurley this past year, and then found free agents was what they're doing this year. Where we look at the Saints, and they've kind of kept a small core for a while in Drew Brees. They've had Mark Ingram there for a while, and then instead of going to get crazy they've invested into this draft and found crazy young players.
They have really good young
Kamara,
players.
Marcus Lattimore,
Marcus Davenport.
Yeah, they've had crazy young players. They've very impressive. Michael Thomas is only 4 years in the league, isn't he, or something? He's pretty young.
really young
They
too.
brought in Eli Apple from New York.
Yep. So they've definitely the Saints have really built this team through the draft, and it's exciting to see what they've done.
And even when Drew Brees retires, they could still be competitive because of what they're going to be able to put around a young quarterback.
Especially Teddy Bridgewater still.
If Teddy Bridgewater is that quarterback, they'll have a great team around him. Or if they end up drafting somebody, they're going to have even more money to put into this team. Definitely. At this point, the Saints are my Super Bowl pick.
I definitely think they're a respectable one.
They're in the mix. Like I said, in my opinion, the NFC really comes down to 3 teams that I said earlier, where it's the Rams, Saints, and Bears. And then this isn't even a bias. I wouldn't be surprised if either one of those teams came out of the NFC. Like, I can't pick which one would be a clear favorite because there's so much talent there.
That's what we have, the top teams, and one thing we all have to worry about or kind of be aware about going into the playoffs and Super Bowl are some of the middle pack leader teams, as in the Houston Texans and the Chargers that we saw last night.
Yeah.
Those 2 teams right there are 2 teams that could come out of nowhere and make a big boom in the playoffs. So I think they're two teams that we should be watching.
Well, we got the wrap a while ago, so we just wanted to get all of our stuff in for the last episode of Unnecessary Roughness. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to an extra special edition of Every Day is Saturday. We're pulling out the big guns here today because New Year's 6 has come out, the college football playoff has come out, so we thought we'd get our 6 college football experts here to talk about the college football playoff. I'm here with Jacob Hunting, Joe Belansky, Jared Fattel, Mike Mahaffey, D'Angelo Starks, and myself, Kellen Voss. We're going to go over each of these games one by one and predict who we think is going to win, and we're also going to give our national championship predictions. So, fellas, are we ready?
I'm not sure they're ready for this.
All right.
This is going to be the closest thing to a normal after the whistle conversation that we have.
Okay, so we're going to start with our first bowl game. It is the Sugar Bowl. It is the Georgia Bulldogs taking on the Texas Longhorns. And let's just get it started off with Jacob. Jacob, who's going to win this game?
It's going to be Georgia. Georgia's going to come into this game pissed. They're going to want this one. And I just don't think Texas is that good.
Yeah, that's easily dogs. I mean, you got Tom Herman. Okay, cool, hook 'em. Texas doesn't stand a chance. Georgia.
See, I disagree, Jacob. I think Georgia's going to come into this game with absolutely no desire, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think they're still going to win by 2 scores against Texas. This is not a good matchup for Texas.
I'll give Texas the respect that they deserved, as in they have definitely stepped up this year than from years past. But we are talking about a Georgia Bulldogs team that I still say should be in the top 4 in the college playoff committee. Shouldn't be playing in this game anyway, but they should be a top 4 team because they have proven that they can beat they can beat Alabama, and they're one of the only teams that will be able to put up against Alabama.
Okay, cool. Hook 'em. Texas, baby.
I'm going to go with Georgia as well. I mean, honestly, Georgia put up a really good fight against the best team in college football, the team that is totally paying its players and totally cheating. Nick Saban, I'm looking at you. There's no way that Texas wins this football game. Georgia's just a good squad overall. Jake Fromm is actually playing well for once. I mean, he was playing well, obviously, in the national championship game last year, but that's beside the point. He's finally got he's got a good stride going. I'm going to pick Georgia. Next game we got coming up here, we got the Pasadena, all the roses, is it the granddaddy of them all? I don't think it's the granddaddy of them all. Yeah. The granddaddy of them all. Ohio State, the Ohio State University taking on the Washington. I got to give them the respect they deserve. They owned us, Joe. They owned us. We're not going to talk about that. But let's that's a whole different conversation we could flow into. But Rose Bowl, Ohio State Buckeyes, Washington Huskies. Who do we got?
As much as it pains me on this one, I'm going to have to say Ohio State. And it's for the same reason as Georgia, Texas. I don't see this as a good matchup for Washington.
Yeah, honestly, I was hoping that somehow Northwestern would win, and then Urban Meyer would get straight into an ambulance and have another fake heart attack or, say, a head problem. The excuses would start coming. So, unfortunately, that didn't happen. It's not going to happen here either. Washington, I got nothing, man. The Ohio team.
I get that you hate Urban Meyer. The man has a cyst in his brain. So I'm a little more human than the trash on a guy with a cyst in his brain. His team's going to win. I don't think Washington's very good. Ohio State's going to win the Rose Bowl.
I think Ohio State's going to win this game. I think we're all going to be in agreement here with the first 2 games. Maybe not. We'll see here with Mike and Kellen's picks. But I think Ohio State's going to win this game. I think that because this is going to be Urban Meyer's last game, and this entire team is going to rally around him. So I think they're not only the better team than Washington, but they're going to have the momentum with them as well going into the game.
I have to bring up that I'm also going to say Ohio State for the sole fact that I don't think their defense is that special. I don't think the running backs are that special, but I'm putting it on the sole fact that Dwayne Haskins is playing amazing football right now. The fact that he was able to, sadly enough, 6 or 7 touchdowns on the Michigan defense, like that's not nothing. I honestly think he's not getting the respect he deserves for the Heisman. I think he should be in first place right now because he's leading all quarterbacks right now in passing yards and in passing touchdowns. But that's just my take.
Mike made a very good point there with the statistics. Ohio State has been a great program throughout. Ohio State showed their dominance against Michigan this past weekend. Despite all that, assist in his brain or not, I refuse to root for or predict a coach who knew about his assistant coach beating his wife and didn't do anything about it. So I'm going to be different. I'm going to pick Washington. Screw Ohio State. You don't deserve to be in this Rose Bowl. I know you kicked the pants off of Michigan. Michigan's a basketball school now. That's besides the point. I refuse to root for the Ohio State Buckeyes, so I will be rooting for the Washington Huskies, and I think the Huskies are going to win. Next game we have up on the docket might be a little bit of disagreement with this one. LSU and UCF, I believe.
Our prompter's not where it's supposed to be, so yeah, we're guessing on that one.
Yeah,
But
it is LSU.
it is. Yeah, but they're one of the big four. This one's kind of interesting. UCF coming in last year, beating Auburn. I do think this LSU team is better than what Auburn was last year. So I'm gonna stick with LSU. UCF is in my opinion, is still a small school that, even though they went undefeated last year and they had another good season this year, they're a small school, and small schools just typically run out of steam after a while. So I think this is when they're going to run out of their steam.
Go Tigers.
I mean, UCF's coming into this game with a backup quarterback. Obviously, their quarterback suffered a horrible leg injury that you don't want to see happen to anybody. They're not national champions. They're not going to be back-to-back national champions. They're going to lose to LSU, and that's that.
I think UCF's going to win. And I think that because what's the difference between, and you said that LSU is a better team than Auburn was last year. I'm not so sure. And other than Alabama, I think the SEC always has the tendency to wet the bed when it comes to bowl season and sort of basically just tear down all the claims that the SEC is the best conference. So because of that, no one is going to be rooting for LSU more than me because I absolutely hate UCF. I hate how they claim a 2017 national title. But I think UCF's actually going to end up winning this game.
I strongly disagree. This LSU team was doing very well this season, besides what arguably is one of the best Alabama all-around teams. Destroyed them, and they put up 0 points, I think. But other than that, this LSU team's looking very good. And I'm sick and tired of seeing UCF people thinking that UCF should be respected as one of the best teams in the country. Not only am I predicting LSU to beat them, I'm expecting them to beat them by 3 or more touchdowns because I don't think UCF is that good.
Bold claims here and after the whistle. I've been LSU. We've been campaigning LSU on every day of Saturday. Weekly, they were an early contender to make it to the college football playoff. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the fact that they lost that epic 7 overtime game, 74-72 over Texas A&M. That was a great football game to watch. But honestly, Coach O gets his team up for big games, and I think he's going to be wanting revenge after losing that 7 overtime game. Devin White is probably going to return in that one. Joe, you mentioned that pre-show. I got to go with the Tigers here. I've been campaigning them all season, so yeah, LSU, go Tigers. My impression was much worse than Joe's, but that's besides the point. The Red Box Bowl.
No, Peach.
The Peach Bowl. The Peach Bowl is coming up. It is the Florida Gators versus the Michigan Wolverines.
We can skip this one if we want. We don't care about this. The ship has sailed on caring about this team for at least 6 months, so they can get out of my life. I'm not going to watch this game, but Michigan's going to win. Still, I don't know. I just think I don't care, but Michigan's going to win.
Michigan had a 10-2 season. It's not like their season was awful.
I'm tired of watching Michigan, Florida. I don't care about the Peach.
I mean, yeah, it's either been Florida, Florida State, or South Carolina, it seems like every time Michigan gets a bowl game. But I'm going to have to say Michigan.
No, I'll definitely I don't even want to get into the Michigan-Ohio State disappointment, but I'm as D'Angelo said, I'm sick and tired of seeing Michigan and Florida. I don't respect this Florida team, so I expect Michigan to beat them, even with Rashawn Gary not playing. But I definitely think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's officially a basketball school. It's no longer a football school until further notice. But that being said, I got Michigan.
I think we're all Michigan fans here, and like all of you guys, I punted on this season. I mean, when you lose to Ohio State by 30, it embarrassed us all. It embarrassed us all. And as for them playing Florida for what seems like the 5th time in like 5 years, it is. I think it's the worst matchup we could have had as Michigan fans in sense of like theater and just entertainment value. It's the worst one. And sadly enough, I'm going to be rooting for Michigan still, but I think Florida's going to win this one. Dan Mullen's just a really good coach.
We want UCF.
Mike wants UCF. He continues to be mad throughout his entire segment, and I love it. Also, Joe apparently doesn't know how to hold a microphone because he's just tossing it around willy-nilly. But that's besides the point. Michigan was able to face off against Florida in the season opener last year, and they looked really good. Felipe Franks is an inconsistent quarterback, and the Michigan defense tends to play well against inconsistent quarterbacks. However, Stephen A. Smith, Jim Harbaugh cannot win big games. He cannot win big games. This is
Not a big game. It's a bowl game. The season's
Like
over.
2 years ago, they beat him by like 30.
He can't win big games. I refuse to accept it. Beat Ohio State before I can respect you, Jim Harbaugh. You're still on the hot seat. Florida 50, Florida 50, Michigan nothing. The final.
Speaking of, shout out Florida. Shout out Jim McElwain is now the head coach at CMU. Talk about a fall from grace. You go from Florida to maybe being with a shark to now coaching at CMU. You're Jim McElwain. What a guy.
Joe Belansky, what a guy.
No, that came out. No, like SEC Media Day, he had to have a press conference to be like, I did not do a shark.
Move on.
Okay.
Moving back on. Red
Joe
Box Bowl.
Belansky is the only person that cares about CMU football. But
I'm just saying.
apologies to my friend Jonathan Burkhorst who plays in the team. Okay. Red Box Bowl. Michigan State, Oregon. We've been talking about Michigan State all season long on Every Day is Saturday. What's going to happen, guys?
Well, first off, Joe, if you think I'm editing this, you're crazy. I'm going to say Oregon.
I like Justin Herbert. I think that he's a really good quarterback, but I think the Michigan State defense is legit. I think they're very good. I think that they were actually underrated over the course of the season, and I think that they're going to shut down Oregon. I like Michigan State in this game. It's not huge or anything, but I think that they'll get a big win and kind of right the ship from what was an otherwise ugly season.
Yeah, I like Oregon. Michigan State's amongst those teams that I don't like to root for, so I got Oregon.
I have to say I haven't watched much Oregon this year, but I can say that I watched a lot of State this year, and I can say that their offense is atrocious, and they can't do anything but whether it's Lewerke or Lombardi getting snaps behind that line, they can't do anything. So I definitely think Oregon's going to win this game.
It just cracks me up. The Red Box Bowl. The Red Box Bowl. You can laugh at Michigan about losing to Ohio State, but you're in the Red Box Bowl, Michigan State fans. And I will also say this: Justin Herbert, he's a sweet player. He's got the visor. I love it. He's obviously a top NFL draft prospect coming in. Well, he's actually talked about returning to Oregon next year, but he's got the Oregon gear. He's got the visor. Oregon's going to win this game by 30.
I agree with my guys from Every Day is Saturday. Brian Lewerke is not a functional quarterback, I don't think, at this point. I think he had his heyday. He had a great first couple of years for Michigan State, and that's awesome. This season, he's been hurt, and he hasn't proven that he can do well or move the football at all in Michigan State offense. So, yeah, I'm going to go Oregon because Michigan State's not going to be able to put points up on the board. Now we get to the big-time matchups everybody cares about, college football playoff. First matchup of our Final Four, we got the Orange Bowl. We have Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. Jacob, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
I mean, I'm going to pick Alabama because it's Alabama, but it's just funny that the best player in all of college football isn't even going to continue to play football. I just got to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, we had at the SEC championship game, we had the reverse of what happened to Jalen Hurts in the championship game. He came back and won in the SEC. The Oklahoma's in the Big 12. There's no defense. I mean, you can still put up 1 billion points with Kyler Murray, but if you can't stop this Alabama offense, who's dynamic no matter who's playing quarterback, it's not even going to be close, and then Lincoln Riley will be in Green Bay.
Interesting take. Kyler Murray is obviously a load of fun. I think all of us here love to watch that guy play. He's going to be playing single A ball next year, and who knows where. But, I mean, he's a lot of fun right now. I don't think that he's good enough, or I don't think that his team is good enough to beat an Alabama team that's just simply better than everyone else. And I just don't see this going any other way. Bama's going to win this game.
Like you said, D'Angelo, I can't wait to watch Kyler Murray. He's going to put on a show against Alabama's defense, I think, as much as he can, maybe 28 points, just him by himself. But you just look at the defensive side of the ball. Not only is Oklahoma just a horrible Big 12 defense, their corners are literally dinky. Their 5'10", their average height's like 5'10", and they're going to have to cover wide receivers from Alabama like Jerry Jeudy, who are just top first-round NFL draft picks. It's not going to look good, I don't think. As much as I want to see a really, really good game, I think it might be Alabama by at least 14, maybe 21 points.
Before I get into this, I have to say that early on in this year that I said Kyler Murray was going to be my Heisman favorite, and I still think that he is respected as one of the Heisman people. I think he's one of the most exciting people in football, but I think this game is an A-class example of why the playoff structure should be restructured, because there is no reason that an Alabama team should be put up against an Oklahoma team that has absolutely no defense whatsoever, and I don't think this game's going to be close. I definitely think that Georgia should be put in this game, and we should have another rematch, because we all saw the SEC championship and how exciting that game was. But I definitely think that Alabama is going to roll through Oklahoma no problem, and this is an example why that the playoff structure should be restructured.
It's a good point, Mike, and I would like to give you kudos for predicting Oklahoma making. I remember we all gave you crap about 6 or 7 weeks ago when you predicted that Oklahoma would be in the playoff, and they're here today. So kudos to that. Alabama is Alabama. Their starting quarterback got injured, and they still continued to come back and win the game. That's crazy depth all around the field for Alabama. They've continued to show that they are a factory that just delivers NFL prospects into the league, and they've been really good at what they do. Credit to Nick Saban. He's probably cheating, but it's okay. Alabama's going to win this game. I wanted to be different, but I just can't. Cotton Bowl, last game we have predicted here before we get to the championship. We got the Clemson Tigers taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Jacob, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Okay, this is the one I honestly know nothing about. Like, this is pretty much, I know Clemson did really well last year, losing to Alabama. They lost to Alabama in the championship last year. No. First round. But they won recently. 2 years ago. Okay.
And then lost.
NFL is my game. So, I'm going to say Clemson.
Listen, Brian Kelly here at GV, we love you. Thanks for the new football facility. You ain't gonna get it done, man. Clemson, that defensive line is just stock full of NFL talent.
3 first-rounders.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess you could argue that Notre Dame is good at producing offensive linemen, but it's not even going to be close. This will easily be. Never mind. I take that statement back. Never mind. But anyways, Clemson. I think Clemson walks away with this one. No problem.
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. I think he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks that we'll see in college football in the next 2 or 3 years. Like Joe said, Clemson's defense is very underrated. I don't know how you can be underrated and have all these first-round guys, but no one talks about their defense. They're very good. They're going to shut down Notre Dame. Clemson, we're going to have another Alabama-Clemson championship, if you ask me.
The thing that I can't wait to see, not only like it's going to be a really good game. Actually, I think Clemson. Let me just get my pick right out there. I think Clemson's going to win this one, 31-14, and probably the least watchable game, probably in all of the bowl games. I think it's going to be very boring. But I will say this: the thing I cannot wait to watch is the jersey clash. You got the Clemson orange and purple going against Notre Dame's green and gold. I think it's just going to look super good. It's almost going to be like a color rush in the NFL, Jacob. So I can't wait to watch that. But I think it's going to be an ugly game.
That was a nice take. I like bringing in the jerseys. But I definitely think Clemson's going to come away with this one because yes, Notre Dame is undefeated, but if we look at their schedule, besides playing Michigan early or the first game of the season, they didn't really play anyone throughout the season to get a respectable win in my book. I think they're another team that, they're undefeated, but I really don't think they have a good argument that they should be in the playoffs. And Clemson has that argument because they have a ridiculous defense. And as D'Angelo brought up, they have a really good young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence that's proven that he can be a top college player in the years to come. So I think Clemson's going to roll through this, and we will see another Alabama-Clemson game.
So it's sounding like we all have Clemson versus Alabama in our national championship game. So to end off this hodgepodge of college football takes, who's gonna be the national champion this year, guys?
I'm picking with my heart on this one and not my brain. Clemson.
I mean, this is going to be an awesome game. Again, it's weird times. It's going to be on like 9 o'clock Eastern time because that's the worst time zone to watch football in. But anyways, I think it'll be a good game. I like Clemson. If anyone can beat Saban, it's Dabo. So I like Clemson.
Joe took what I was going to say. I was going to say if anybody knows how to beat him, it's Dabo Swinney. I think he's going to get these guys up to play this game. Guys like Dexter Lawrence, they've got an incredible defensive line, and I think that's what really controls this game. I think that Trevor Lawrence is legit, like I just said. I'm going to go Clemson too. I am surprised. I didn't think this was going to happen, but I like it. I'm going Clemson.
I love Dabo Swinney. I like to think that if I was like a D1 talent, which would never, ever happen, I like to think that I would go to Clemson and play for Dabo, but it's Nick Saban. I mean, the guy is unbeatable. 5 titles. Alabama's going to win this one.
Unbeatable except for Dabo, though.
Yeah, the one loss, but you can't win every year. You can't win every year.
I do have to say, if there was a team to beat Alabama in the championship, it would be Clemson. But I'm just looking at this Alabama team, and with Tua Tagovailoa leading that, this arguably is one of the best Alabama teams that I've personally saw. It just looks like they are unbeatable. The closest game was against Georgia in the SEC championship, and I already gave my take that Georgia should be in the playoffs playing against Alabama first round because Georgia is also a very good team. But I just think this Alabama team is legit, more legit than they have been in years to come, and that says a lot because they are Alabama. Nick Saban has been here for way too many times, so he knows how to coach in the national championship. And I definitely think that Tua is going to lead him to another championship.
We've given Nick Saban a lot of crap on our show and on this segment in general, just because the man is a little bit of the evil empire, the evil empire of the Alabama football is. That is what Alabama football is to college football. But Nick Saban's been preparing for this game since he lost at Clemson. Since he lost at Clemson 2 years ago. I mean, the man, you can say what you want about legendary coaches, but after a loss like that he took in the national championship game, he was embarrassed, and Alabama was exposed, and he doesn't want to be exposed again. I think he's been plotting for this game for 700-plus days, however many is in 2 years. I'm not a math guy. But Alabama he's been ready to win this game. He's got 2 of the best 5 quarterbacks in the country on his roster. I think that Alabama wins this game pretty easily, and we're all continuing to be bored of college football because Alabama is as good as they are. I think that's just the sad reality of it.
I think that's why most of us actually just picked Clemson, is because we're just tired of seeing Alabama.
That's exactly it.
No, I mean, I think there's some truth behind it, where if there is one team that's going to be able to beat Bama, it is Clemson. So, I don't know.
I picked Clemson because I don't want to see Alabama again.
I don't want to see either of them, but they're the 2 best teams in football.
Nick Saban's going to have like 8 million Diet Cokes on the sideline, then give his recruits some.
That's it.
All right, we're wrapping this up because we can't contain Joe.
We will thank you so much to all of our loyal fans that watch After the Whistle. If you've made it this far, kudos to you. We will have one more edition of Every Day is Saturday coming up next semester to recap this crazy college football playoff. But until that time, I continue to be Kellen Voss.
I'm D'Angelo Starks.
The Mike Mahaffey.
Jared Patel.
Joe. You don't get a last name, just Joe.
Yeah, we know you're just Joe. But I've been Jacob Hunting. Again, thank you so much for watching After the Whistle all this semester. And we will be back January 14th with a whole new set. Not a set. A whole new set of stuff to do. How about that?
That's a good way to put it. Happy Hanukkah, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. You're right.